How's it going, guys? Winter Kills here, and welcome to a brand new discussion video. And we're going to be talking about hand traps, and more specifically hand traps in this current format, and some of the better hand traps that you could actually play in your deck going forward to sort of counteract some of the better strategies. Now, I don't normally talk too much about hand traps. I personally don't play hand traps too much in a lot of my decks because I find that hand traps sometimes can really put an imbalance when it comes to power and consistency. Yes, you do add an ability to be able to slow your opponent down quite a bit, but in some cases, clogging your hand with too many hand traps could ultimately make your deck worse going forward, and might be the reason you see a significant slowdown in consistency or power, whatever your deck is trying to do. Could be specifically for that reason. Maybe you're just seeing too many hand traps. And then in situations where they aren't really coming up. Now, a reason being I wanted to make this video is because not only do I have some really cool new equipment to work with to help film some really cool videos for you guys, but I was streaming the other day and playing on YGO Pro. I was playing Mermails, and I noticed, you know, even as crazy and like just psychotic sometimes as the YGO Pro meta can be, I just noticed something that was a bit off. The amount of hand traps that were being played seemed a bit higher than usual. And I think that's for good reason, actually. I think with the dramatic change in the format we've seen lately with, you know, all the top tier decks sort of getting lowered down to a mediocre point in the format, and with some new cards coming out like Magician Souls that really have helped surge a deck like Spirals to the top, with such an insanely combo heavy, and not only combo heavy but consistent and powerful deck that it has become once again. I feel like the emphasis on trying to slow your opponent down if you lose the dice roll has become much more important, and that's why we're seeing hand traps once again in the main deck. I know not all cases are like this, but we've seen recently in some regional events and a lot of the top decks, like the PPG that happened recently, a lot of people choosing to main hand traps, some an excessive amount. I think there was a Zodiac build that was playing like 15 hand traps in the main. And again, one tree does not make a forest, but I think going forward, we'll see a trend of hand traps seeing more and more of a presence within people's main decks and not so much in the side deck. So that's what we're going to be talking about going forward. And of course, I want to mention a quick shout out to Imperium Duelist if you guys are interested in any playmats, sleeves, dice, deck boxes, calculator cases, custom apparel, things like that. Check them out down in the description below. And even better, you can get 10% off your entire order using my discount code WinterKills10 off at checkout. And if you're buying any of these side deck cards off of TCG Player, don't forget to use my affiliate link down in the description below. And lastly, but not least, on February 9th, I'm going to be doing a charity live stream over on my Twitch channel, so don't forget to check that out. Would love to see you there. So the first hand trap I'm going to be talking about, you might have guessed it going into this. You might have seen it in the thumbnail. I'm not too sure. But Drone Lockbird has seen a tremendous increase of play as of late because of a lot of the best decks right now are playing Danger Engines, and they're also searching like crazy. Spiral is one of those examples. You know, they have their Master Plan, their Resort. They have their Magician Souls now that is, you know, giving you more opportunities to be able to activate and resolve this draw, slowing their turn down quite a bit, and it's going to basically rely on them having a really absurd hand to be able to play through and still end on a somewhat decent board, even through Droll. And Droll even goes so far down the line as to slow down a lot of rogue strategies, even something like Mermail. Droll Lockbird to this day absolutely kicks Mermail in the pants because you just cannot resolve Dragoons, you cannot resolve Teus, nothing. You are just completely dead in the water. And that's one of the reasons I was having such a bad time playing Mermail on stream the other night, is because everybody and their mother is just maining Droll and Lockbird, and I just can't seem to draw any of my Call by the Graves at the right possible time. So that's just my bad luck, I guess. But Droll and Lockbird 100% is something that you should consider to put in the main deck if you have the room for it. And again, I'm not saying it fits in everybody's main deck, but if not the main, definitely in the side, much like I talked about in my top 5 side deck cards video you can find up here in the top right. Now, the next hand trap I wanted to talk about was DD Crow. Now, going back to what I was saying about Droll and Lockbird, we're seeing an uptick in deck searching and drawing and doing things like that, but we're also seeing a hefty reliance on graveyard effects this format. I would say more so than recent times, I guess. I guess with the addition of Spartle, we have more graveyard effects to worry about than before. When you take into account how good DD Crow is as well, you know, just because it can banish any card in the opponent's graveyard. It is not a once per turn, and you just have the ability to remove such powerful cards out of the opponent's graveyard, like Martin, you know, mission rescue targets and symbol skeleton targets. It's just a fantastic card all around. So the next hand trap I wanted to talk about also deals in slowing down graveyard effects, and that is Skullmeister. Skullmeister is actually a hand trap that I don't currently own, and probably will be picking up a playset very soon. If you don't own Skullmeister as well, definitely a card to invest in. I believe for the longest time it was only a secret rare. It was very, very expensive because it started seeing some play. And then I got a few reprints to make it a bit more accessible, which is nice. But you never know if another price hike like that could happen again, because Skullmeister is a very, very unique hand trap. It stops graveyard effects. Not like DD Crow, though. This actually just negates effects in the graveyard. It's sort of like Effect Valor, just for the graveyard, I suppose, is a better way to put it. And can be really good for dealing with things that DD Crow can't deal with. Some effects still activate in the grave, even if they are banished as a result of DD Crow. So a card like Skullmeister in certain matchups where DD Crow might not be the best option, and slowing down some certain graveyard dependent strategies, Skullmeister might be the next best bet. Now this next one is a bit of a no-brainer. We all know how good Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring is. This card, since its inception, has been in and out of some of the best decks of every format, whether it be Rogue or all the way up to Tier 1. We've seen people play Ash in the main, and it's just a fantastic card just for its overall negation, stopping searching, sending, and special summoning, you know, from the deck. It's a wide range of things that it can slow down. It's a great cover also if you're going into an event where you're not entirely sure what you might be playing against, or the format might not entirely be solved at that point. You know, a card like Ash Blossom will not hurt to be in the main deck, again, just to slow down some certain strategies if you happen to lose the dice roll or are trying to go second. So Ash Blossom, of course, is a great choice for a hand trap this format. So this next hand trap I wanted to talk about is very, very similar to DD Crow in the fact that it is not a once per turn effect. You can use it as many times as you have copies available to you, and that is Infinite Impermanence. This card is great, not only because it's not a once per turn, but you can use it to get around chain blocking. So where a card normally like Ash wouldn't be able to negate something if they blocked it in a chain link, Impermanence can get around that because it does target whatever it is trying to negate, dodging that you know, chain blocking clause, preventing it from being able to negate what it is that you actually want to stop. And sometimes that is a big issue, but Impermanence, since it does target, it does get through that, which is very, very nice. And Impermanence a bit better than Effect Failure because you know, you can use it during either player's turn. I guess the only drawback being that you cannot play it while you have cards already established onto your board. But then again, the card can also be set at that point and act as a normal trap, and also have the opportunity to negate if it does come up an additional spell or trap on the opponent's side of the field, you know, in the same column that it was activated in. So Impermanence, a very, very versatile hand trap and very, very powerful hand trap this format as well. The only downside really being its price point. Hopefully we'll see another reprint of it sometime very, very soon. And I think we will, hopefully in Dual Overload, see another reprint of Impermanence because it is a bit pricey still, even with the reprints that it's had. Now this next hand trap I want to talk about is Saiframe Gama. Now, I really have never been too much of a fan of Saiframe Gama, specifically because of the activation requirements. It does require, you know, no monsters on your field. It also requires you to play that Saiframe driver within the main deck, which is a Garnet. You know, of course, it is still live if you draw it, but it is taking up another slot in your hand that could be used for more starters, extenders, and things like that. But the best thing about Gamma is that it can negate monster effects anywhere, which is fantastic. Negates them in the hand, in the graveyard, and on the field, which makes it really great at stopping key cards that your opponent might have, cards like Ash, Lancia, whatever it may be. And especially to mention with the Saiframe Lord Lambda Link 2 monster that we have and have had for quite some time, that allows you to use Saiframe monsters while you control monsters already on your field. and it's such an easy link to get into. And not to mention, in a deck like Lunalight Time Thief, which has become more popular as of late, and it's still a fantastic strategy, a bit of a hybrid strategy, but still fantastic nonetheless. You can use a card like your Time Thief Redoer to be able to trigger your Lambda because you're banishing a Psychic, be able to search a Gamma in the end phase, just giving you additional negates. It's just such a fantastic card, and not only does it negate monster effects anywhere, it also destroys them, which is great because not only are you negating it, but you're also removing the problem as well. Now, for this part of the video, I want to just give some honorable mentions to some other hand traps that are really, really great this format. Not as great as some of these that I've already mentioned, but of course, those cards are Lancia and Effect Valor. While Lancia may be seeing a bit of a decrease in play because of Orcus's dominance sort of decreasing, I still think that Orcus is a fantastic strategy this format. As much as I hate to say that, we've seen it still do pretty well in some smaller events. I don't think it would hurt in some cases to have Lancia in the side still, just in case you do come across a few Orcus matchups, and you never know, it might actually come in clutch. And again, Effect Valor is still a fantastic hand trap, a bit of a budget option for Impermanence, so if you're not looking to spend too much on Impermanence, as Effect Valor is a great option because it shares the same benefits as Impermanence does. You know, it is not a once per turn, and it does target, so it's also able to break up chain links like Impermanence because it does target. So that's gonna do it for this discussion video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Leave a like if you did. Hopefully some of you found this information useful, and let me know some other things you want to see me discuss on the channel and give my opinions and thoughts on, so because I like making these types of videos, especially like I said earlier with all the equipment that I've got to work with now. And again, hope you guys are enjoying them. Leave a like if you did, and of course drop a comment down below on what you think some of the better hand traps to play main or sideboard this format are. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. As always, Kill sign out. We'll see you guys in the next one.